Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Harvey Guillén.
Where's my sit? Hi. What a great crowd.
You got them way more hyped than that. I'm just gonna go down and you take care of this.
I was just like,
Harvey, so glad to have you here at FanX. Is this your first time?
This is my first FanX.
Yeah, yesterday we saw you doing the photo ops and stuff. How is that, and how has been meeting all of these wonderful people from Salt Lake and all around Utah area?
I mean, it's so great. Everyone's really, really lovely. I actually went to school in Cedar City for like a week. Let me finish. I went to Cedar for a week. I went there on a Shakespearean scholarship kind of deal, and I didn't love it. I realized I was like, I don't want to be a Shakespearean actor. And I was like, what do I want to do? And then I was like, musicals. I want to do musicals. So then I went back to LA and went to a music conservatory there and did a whole program for musical theater. And then out of school, I went to Japan, did a musical, and then never did a musical again. So, you know, it all worked out. I love Utah. I really do. I've been here for like, you know, Sundance, and I produced a commercial one time in Moab. Yeah, that's beautiful up there with the red rocks and stuff. Yeah, so everyone's really nice and friendly, so I want to come back already. So.
Well, and not just Cedar City. We got to talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Oh, yeah.
So, are you caught up with last week?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, are you okay with spoilers? A little bit? Cool.
People always walk out. I'm like, wait, come back.
Mary
Cosby walks out. Wait, come back, man.
Little boy.
Maybe, little boy. Yeah, I just, well, first of all, they went to my friend's place in Palm Springs, and Trixie Mattel. And I was so upset that like Mary kept like, Trixie Mattel. I'm sorry, is that a person? Is that a person? I was like, it's a pretty famous place, okay, Mary. So that was kind of funny, and Trixie made fun of it on her socials, which is great. Yeah.
I love the role that Mary's in now, where she's not necessarily with the housewives, but she's just commentating on the side and dishing on them.
All we want, really, right? I feel like when she was part of it, it was so much. I was like, oh my god, this is chaos every time, and I love it. I love it. But now it's like a sprinkle of it. Like it's just even the simple as like, Mary, come over here and sit with us, girl. I don't want to do that.
Don't tell me to do
Don't tell me
like
what to do. Don't talk to me like that. It's like she just said, sit over here and have lunch with us. It's so.
What would your catchphrase be for the intro?
Ooh. I thought about this. Well, I don't know if there's children in the audience. There's children? You cannot, no, PG. There's so many good ones, but they're so bad. I mean, the ones from New York had new ones that were so incredibly bizarre to me. Like, it was like, what was it? Something like, don't be mean to me or I'll date your dad. What? It's like, what? Like threatening to like, going to like McDonald's and be like, get my order right or I'll date your dad. It's like, oh my god, hold on. No salt on fries. It's crazy. And so I would want a crazy one like that. Like it would make no sense. And so it's like, everyone has best friends, but I stole your money. Which kind of happened in Salt Lake. Well, with a certain housewife that's now, you know, behind.
But her assistant's helping out with, you know, explaining everything on the show.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that one vampire show in a way that you can answer some questions for.
What?
When it comes to comedic acting, first of all, you are incredible. I love your improvisational skills. I love your sensibilities. What is it like?
Hold on, I told him if he said that I'd give him $20, so. Go on, there's more to the list.
musical theater that will be coming soon and be one of the best shows. But what is it like working with other actors and having to do so much improvisational with it and with dialogue?
Well, we're very fortunate working on that show because we have great writers, and we're lucky enough that the script itself is amazing, and they let us improvise. Like, so when you see the final product, it's 50% improvised. So 50% is improvised and 50% is scripted, which is not to say that, you know, the script by itself is amazing. When we read it, we're like, this is hilarious, and we get one take where it's just like that. And then we end up having what's called a freebie, and Taika Waititi, amazing director extraordinaire and actor, we were like, let's just do a fun one, And then I made the mistake freshman year, I was like in school, freshman year, I said something like, funsies, and he's like, yeah, funsies. And then from there on, that's what it was called. Like, so whenever we do a regular take, and then we go like, okay, and Yana Gorskaya, our lovely director who edited the film, was just like, okay, let's do a funsies. And she'll like go in, so now from now on, any director, like Kyle Newacek, amazing, all right, we got what we want. Shall we funsies? So it's become the ongoing joke is that when you have a funsies, like, yes, you know, you get to like do whatever you want within the world of what we've already presented. Yeah.
When you find like you're exploring these characters, maybe for the first time you're auditioning for it, do they evolve quickly once you start the show, or is it depending on if the audition was, you crushed it, they loved exactly what that was?
Yeah, so for me it was a little different because he's the only human, you know, and I think it was a little hard to find who that person is in a world of vampires. Oops. Well, I can say vampires. And basically, it was hard for me the way that I came to be part of the project was really weird. I went to a wine and cheese night. I know, it was weird. And my friend Mimi Michaels, that's not even a stage name, that's her real name. Mimi Michaels. Sounds like a vaudeville starlet, you know? Starring Mimi Michaels. She was like, hey, I'm in LA with my new baby, and there's a storm in New York, so I wanted to leave the storm and stay warm and safe in LA. So come see the baby in my brother's house. And I was like, okay, sure. Because A, I love babies, and B, I haven't seen my friend in such a long time. So it's gonna be a small group, and it was her husband, the baby, who was adorable, and then her brother, and then a friend that I never met before. And this friend, her name was Yvonne. So we had charcuterie and had wine and cheese night, and just laughing and having a good time. And the next day I get a text from an unknown number, and it's Yvonne, her friend. She goes, hey, you're so effing funny. Last night I was like, who is this? And she goes, it's Yvonne? And I was like, you'll have to be more specific. Yvonne from last night, again. How am I supposed to know who you are, girl? And he's like, Yvonne from the wine and cheese night? Type. Oh yeah. What's up? She's like, you're so funny, you should audition for my fiance's new show. And I was like, I don't do those kind of films anymore. And they're like, what? And I'm like, what? And I was like, and she's like, no, I'm really serious, you should audition, but you should hurry because they're gonna cast this role really quickly. They've already cast everyone. And I was like, okay, I was doing this whole thing that year of the year of yes and. Like when someone says, wanna go to the park? Sure. You know, it's just like, wanna jump on a hot air balloon? Sure. Wanna rob a bank? Okay. You know, you regret the things you don't do, you know? And she gets it, she's robbed a bank. So then I was like, sure, why not? And so I asked my agent to get me the audition, and they came back, they're like, oh, they don't think you're right for this because the character's 25 years older than you are. And I was like, what? And it's like, why would should I be insulted? This girl texted me, you be perfect for this role, old hag. I had just gotten done playing a high schooler 4 years earlier. So I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So the wall started melting, guys. And then I was like, well, this girl that I met at a party last night said I should be in it, so I think you should really push for it. And my agent's like, what's her name? I was like, Yvonne. What's her last name? Okay. okay. I feel like I'm getting attacked right now. What's your last name? And then she gave me her last name, and then I told her, and it turns out that her fiance was one of the executive producers on the show. Nepotism at its best. And I definitely took, a seat in that ship. I was just like, oh, yeah, but she said I could do it. And they're like, okay, so they convinced the casting director, Allison Jones, who's casted everything under the sun. It's amazing, like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Office, Golden Girls, Bridesmaids, everything. Like, I shouldn't be naming all these things.
The wedding movie.
Those were all board games that I liked to play as a child. Anyways, Allison Jones, that's her work. Her line of work is what she's done. Her work, what she's done. And I wanted to just meet her because she's so amazing. So I was really excited to meet her. And I was like, oh, the character's like so much older. So how do I age myself up, So I was like at my writing partner, Jamie Holt's house, and she had a picture of a monster book that Guillermo del Toro had written. And there was an illustration of him in the bottom. And it was his face. And he had like a little bit of a beard. And he had these like round glasses. And he had his hair parted in the middle. And I was like, I don't know any Guillermos. And I was like, that's a Guillermo. Like, he looks like a Guillermo. And so I mimicked my look for the audition. I parted my hair in the middle, did 2 curls out like that. I got these Harry Potter glasses, I popped out the lenses. I wanted to make myself look older, and I had to shave, so I was pretty smooth, so I got like a little bit of makeup with the bristle, and I did like a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, and I was like, I have to look older, I have to look older, I have to look older, I don't want to lose this opportunity. And so I went through my closet, and I was like, you have to find the most, like the oldest looking stuff. Like I was like, I had a long sleeve orange shirt with a brown sweater vest. No one would wear that on television. So I literally wore that to the audition, and I never dress up for a character. Usually I dress up a little bit, like it might be like a hint of the character, but not fully. And I was like, this is the character. And I remember going in, and they put the microphone on like my, lapel, whatever this right here, the collar. And they're like, okay, so I got in there. I was like, I'm here to audition for Allison. They're like, she's not here. And I was like, because I really wanted to meet her. I was like, because I'd never been auditioning. I never got into her office. She only invites you by invitation. So it was kind of like I got my foot in the door. Nepotism. And I was like, no, but I'm supposed to meet Allison. I'm supposed to meet. It's like, she's in London auditioning for this character. And I was like, because that's where you'll find Guillermo de la Cruz. London. So I was like, makes sense. I was like, okay. And it's like, but she'll see the tape, so don't worry. It's like, okay. So I just remember that I don't remember anything after they said start. And I remember when I was done, I was in this trance, in fully Guillermo mode, and I just remember looking up, and the assistant director was like, casting director was like, Harvey, and I was like, yeah, and they're like, we're done, and I was like, right, yes. Okay, and then I started walking towards the door. And he goes, Harvey, wait! And I'm like, I was gonna say, you're going to Hollywood, And I was like, yes? And he goes, the microphone. Thank you. And then I walked out, and I called my agent. They're like, how did you do? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, how was the audition? I was like, I don't know. And he's like, you don't know? And I was like, I just remember completely falling to that place with him that I was like, this is him. And I just would not remember anything afterwards. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I ruined that opportunity. And then they called an hour later and they said, I don't know what you did in the room, but Taika and Jermaine saw it. And it's the first time FX, Taika, Jermaine, all the producers have voted unanimously to test someone. You're gonna test with Kayvon. And I was like, oh! And they're like, yeah, you're going to Hollywood. And I was like, yeah. But the funny part is that I never tested with Kayvon. I was looking forward to the test coming up, and it was getting close because they were starting production closer to Martin Luther King week. So they were starting on the Tuesday after the holiday on Monday, and the weeks had gone by, and they kept telling me, you're the wild card. Now what that means in Hollywood is they're not sure. I know, I don't want to be a wild card either. So I was like, they don't know if they want you. You're like the maybe. You're the perhaps, because the character is much older than you. So they're gonna focus on older actors for this role, and you're the wild card in case no one else is good. And you're like, Everyone loves to hear that. That's what I want. You know, if I propose to someone, they're like, "You're the wild card. In case no one else comes along, I'll marry you." You know, you're like, "Thank you." So it was a little bit, nerve-wracking and settling and disappointing. But so the weeks went by, and eventually it was the weekend of Martin Luther King weekend holiday, and I hadn't heard anything. It was like a Sunday, and I was like, they start Monday. Like I know they start Monday. They have, production starts Monday. I didn't get it. And I was like really bummed. So my sister, who's here in the audience, we were driving and we went to the mall, our childhood mall, and was window shopping, and that's what makes you happy when you're sad. And we were just walking around, and then a number kept calling my phone, but it was like 16 digit, it was like a long number, and I was like, ugh, ignore it. And it's just like, why do people keep calling me? Telemarketers, and ignore it. And I was like, God, give me a sign. Stop calling me. Sorry, where was I? God, give me a sign. Oh my gosh. Turn it off. And eventually we're in the car and she said, pick up the phone. And I picked it up. And I was like, hello? He's like, hey, is this Harvey? And I was like, yeah. Hi, it's Tyke and Jermaine. Oh, hi, Mr. Waititi. Yes, I think I'm testing. No, mate, you're not testing for us. Oh. Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. I wish you all the best in your future endeavor. And I thought it was like, no, you're not testing because you're the one. We'll see you on set. And I booked it, and I was like screaming, oh my God, my sister's driving. She's like, what? And I pulled over. I couldn't believe it. It was the first time in my career that I called my agent and told them that I booked something. And I was like, hi, guess what? I booked it. I must sound insane. It's like, I booked it. And they were like, Harvey, where are you? I'm like, I booked the show. And they're like, oh no, not again. And they were really kind of just like, no, we would know, Harvey. We're the professionals. And sure enough, 24 hours went away. It was a holiday weekend. And by Monday, they had officially had the offer, and they had to call me back and be like, yeah, you're right. I booked it, and then I give a fitting tomorrow. No chemistry read, and then you start filming Wednesday. So I had a fitting so I went to the fitting, and I was like, what are you gonna have for this character? Some beautiful, goth-looking vampire. Tyga's like, no, what'd you wear for the audition? I was like, oh, I wore a hideous sweater with a long sleeve shirt and the glasses, and I parted my hair. Yeah, that. For the pilot, right? And then after the first episode, he doesn't wear that because he hangs out with vampires, so he probably wouldn't know that. You're gonna wear that all the time. Okay, when in Rome, right? And then it was funny because we did go to the hair department, and I was like, yeah, I guess we could do his hair a little bit different for the audition. No, Javi, what'd you do for the audition? Oh, I parted in the middle like Guillermo del Toro's, with the curls, but you would never see anyone on TV with that. No, that. You're gonna wear that. Oh, okay. Namaste. And that's how it came to me. So that's how Guillermo's outfit, the whole thing about him, everything kind of originated from the audition. And now when you pick up a Funko Pop, that's his audition outfit.
So cool. To me, it sounds like the audition process can be grueling, even if you crushed it.
Yeah.
You can black out Moon Knight style, and then wake up and everybody loves you, and you're like, how? Why?
Why? Yeah.
So I have to ask, I'm sure you have so many stories with auditions and going through that. What inspires you? Who inspires you during this process that keep you going to the next auditions?
I mean, this business is really tough. It's fickle, right? There's highs and there's lows. So I just think of all the low times where, I had $16 left in my bank account, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay my rent, and I have nothing lined up. And then just knowing that I always have a choice to either say this isn't for me, or go and do an office job, which is perfectly normal if you do that, or say that I can't live without this, and I can't see myself breathing without doing this and entertaining, and I can't see myself doing anything else. And so whenever, I remember my memory of my high school counselor asking me, so what are your plans for college? And I was like, oh, so I want to be an actor. Okay, what's your backup? And I was like, And they're like, you should have a backup. And I was like, I don't have a backup. And success is my only option, failure is not. And that's it. And that's the way I kind of live, you know. It's risky, because sometimes you're down to like your last, you know, 16 bucks, and then you have really good highs, and like, you know, if you're smart with your money and whatnot, and you need to pay artists what they, you know, what they deserve and what they're worth, especially right now. So we stand with SAG after the strike and getting writers and you know, actors and everyone what they're worth, because I think for so long people didn't know that this was happening behind closed doors. It's almost like being in an abusive relationship, you know? And it's like, wait, what's happening? So like, oh yeah, like they don't like really pay, and then I can't afford health insurance. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, wait, what? No, that's crazy. Of course you can. You're on TV. That doesn't mean, you know, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So it was almost like this shameful secret that like finally has been exposed. And people are like, I had no idea. And I was like, well, why would you? We're so busy entertaining you and making you feel happy for a day. We didn't tell you we were going behind closed doors and not happy ourselves, you know? But now that everyone is aware of it, we really do appreciate all the support that you, the audience, has given us. So thank you for supporting us.
I'm going to stop selfishly taking all the time after this last question. So if you guys do want to start lining up, there's that microphone, there's that microphone, and we'll start doing that. But for now, there was another project that happened this year related to the superhero fandom that you were in, that came from a certain studio, because we can't mention much of anything with that. But the way that you were in this, and how the story about heritage, about culture, and infusing that into the character, you were a part of this. I want to know, if someone were to make a film about you, first, who would you want to direct it, and who would you want to play you? And what kind of tone are we going to have? Will this be a musical comedy? Will this be, what are we looking for?
Ooh, that's good. Who would play me? I like to play myself.
It could be, you totally could.
I like to audition for the role. That's actually another funny story. One time, I was doing this show about, how do I say this title? About somebody who's obsessed with their ex, and they're a girl, and people think they're crazy.
It's almost fun. It's like a guess.
Yeah.
To see if they...
Did you guess that one? I don't know. I can't say it, but I think you can if you get it. Did someone guess it? I don't know if someone guessed it.
Someone yell it.
What? Yes. I don't know what you're talking about. So anyways, I had this audition one time, this early on in my career, after I had just done like one series regular, and I got in for this breakdown. The breakdown is what the character calls for. They're like, looking for funny, Latino, maybe an extra couple pounds on him, super funny, wears hats, and goes by the name, you know, whatever. And I was like, oh, perfect, I could play that, that's perfectly, I love hats. And I went to the audition, I got a call back for it, and then I went and almost didn't get the second call back. They're like, yeah, they're not sure. And then I got the part eventually, and I was on set with the creator, who's the star, basically. And I was just like, it was so funny to me because I had auditioned to play this part, and they wrote the show. And I was like, what did you base this whole thing on? Oh, I was kind of obsessed with this piano player that came to our school when I was in high school, and they were in college, or a freshman in college, and I was a senior in high school, and I had a crush on them from afar. And he used to always talk about his adventures with his friends from his college. And I was like, oh, where did they go to college? And they said the college. I was like, I went to that college. He's like, yeah, I used to hang out with these two guys, and one of them was tall and blah, blah. One of them was short and stout, Mexican, which is the character that you're playing. I was like, oh, that's so funny. The three of us in school would hang out. What's the name of the person? And they told me the name, and that was my friend. I auditioned to play myself, and I almost didn't get it. My mind, Hollywood, you guys, you go in to play someone like Harvey Guillén, and you're like, hi, I'm Harvey Guillén. No, thanks. What? You just said. And I've had friends who send me breakdowns. They're like looking for someone like people have done breakdowns for other characters like Harvey Guillén. And I think it's funny they say like, hey, I'm going for a role that says like Harvey Guillén. I was like, that's so funny. They didn't ask me to do it. But you go and get it. You go and get it.
Should they have been calling though, and you're like, give me a sign?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's so funny. That's just so Hollywood, right? But I think it's funny that sometimes you audition to play yourself and don't get it. Back to your question that I didn't answer 20 minutes ago. If I had a movie made for me, I think like the director. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool to have like a comedian turned into a director. So like I'm thinking of only friends and people that I've just worked at recently. Like George Lopez would be great. I wanted to be something in it. He has really cool visions. I think something like that. Angel Soto, who just directed that one film that we can't talk about. But to play me would be, oh man. I don't know, like that's kind of hard because I always, people always like to compare me to like people I remind them of, or like when I was growing up, people in musical theater where it's like, you're like a young Nathan Lane. And I was like, oh, okay. And then when I was, just doing TV and film, you're like a young Jack Black. And I was like, oh, okay. It's like, it's the same because there isn't a lot of Latino representation. So I'd never modeled myself after anyone. Because for so long I was trying to fit into a cookie cutter that Hollywood said, it's this one, put your foot in. I was like, oh, I think it's too small. Put your foot in. It's supposed to fit. It's like, this is the only size we have. Maybe try Sears. Just like, what? And it's like, why is there a mold for me? There wasn't a mold for me. So for so long, I wasted years trying to fit into this mold of like this tall Adonis, like blue-eyed, blonde hair, which is beautiful and gorgeous, but like it wasn't me and I didn't fit into that mold. And for so long, I was like, fighting myself on this. And the second I let go of, stop fighting to fit into a mold, you already are the mold. You are your mold. Perfect.
Thank you. Who do you want to start with, left or right? Our left.
Ooh, I think. Please explain your outfit.
From Community.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Everybody give your name too. What's your name?
I'm
Devin.
So, if you yourself became a vampire, what would you do in the darkness?
Well, I mean, it did happen for a brief second. And she kind of went a little berserk. What would I do personally? Fly. I think that'd be so cool to like, just be able to fly. Just like, bye. Yeah. I would just bat out of there. Exactly. I would fly. That was probably the first thing. I'm very much like Guillermo in certain ways where like I don't like blood. I'm really squeamish with blood. I hate whenever you have to draw blood. Like I'm just like, whoa. Like we haven't put the rubber on yet. And I'm like, whoa. So I'm not like into that. I like the outfits. Those are really cool. So maybe do like a vampire fashion show. I think it's time. That's what I do.
Hi, I'm Kayla.
Hi.
My question is, what is your favorite moment or memory from
From what?
The Crew?
The Crew. One time, I remember in season 1 of that show, the Crew has been around forever. Like the actors, they rotate from one show to another. The Crew, I mean, you might have a dry spell where you don't work on something for a couple months, maybe years, but the Crew is always in demand. You'll always need a boom, you'll always need, an editor, you'll always need a camera person, you'll always need an AD, like you'll always need a crew, because it's always in demand. We're always creating, well not right now, but we're always creating content for the audiences, right? So they would be working around forever. So they've seen it all. So like the person who's holding the boom is just like, yeah, speeding. And they have to hear the jokes and stuff and not show any emotion. Like they're just like holding the boom over and cut. All right. Then they just move on. They can't interact, they can't really engage, or they can't even really enjoy it. And not that they would, because half of the time, stuff they're filming, they're not even interested in. They're like, Yeah, we got the line. Yeah. And you could be doing a really like crying scene. They're like, was that good? They're like, yeah, it was great. They don't really care. They're just doing their job because they're like, but man, we're so lucky with our crew. Like they are fans of the show. Like they love the show. So like when we have, my best memory is when I can make someone in the crew break, which means that they can't do their job. So like we have like a boom person going, and they're the sound. Like they're holding the microphone away from their face, and they're like, and then one time, one of the booms just dropped the mic, literally dropped the mic because they started laughing so much into the shot. And I thought, and I looked back like, oh, this is a good scene. Because they seen it all, and the fact that they couldn't keep it together, that means to me, I'm like, sometimes you do a scene, you can't hear like a live audience response, you don't have instant report. With theater, you do. With TV and film, you're like, I hope that's good, and also it goes through the process of editing, cutting, coloring, all this stuff, so the time you go and see, you're like, here we go, we're gonna, oh, they picked that scene? Oh, that's not the one I liked, you know, because you do it over and over, and sometimes you're like, I really hope they picked scene 2, my take, because I really like, they did not, you know, and so you're like, oh man, but when you do a scene like that, you know that's the scene they're probably gonna pick, because everyone's in agreement, like everyone feels like, unless they ruin the shot, and then the boom just goes, you know, and it hits it, but that's one of my favorite memories, yeah. Yeah.
My name is Seattle, and I just want to say Guillermo is my favorite. I love his character growth. He's been so amazing over the past 5 seasons, and he's so fiercely independent. But with season 5, it's by far been the best season, I think. It's so funny and hilarious. And without saying spoilers or with whatever you want, are you happy with the outcome for Guillermo?
Ooh. Well, I feel like everyone, I mean, spoilers, did everyone get to the end of last season? Well, spoilers. Oh, yeah. I think sometimes, you know, we had this whole story and the trajectory of Guillermo's storyline and how linear it was and how we sprinkled it for the last 5 seasons. It was very nice and people were like, yes, 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 yes. And then sometimes what you want the most in life is maybe not meant for you. Maybe the universe is telling you otherwise. Maybe it's killing you. Maybe it's slowly taking your happiness away. Maybe it's slowly separating you from your loved ones. Maybe what you think is your ideal life for yourself is not what the universe had planned. And maybe sometimes it's good to let go of things and let the universe take over for a second. So I think that's my take on that. I know a lot of people wanted him to be that and wanted him so bad to be it, but at the end of the day, I just want him to be happy. And I want him to be happy, and if that means not getting what he thought he needed to be happy, then I'd rather he be happy and in a place that he didn't think he would end up in.
Hi, Kelly. Since Guillermo went through a bunch of changes, behind the scenes, did you do all that prosthetic work, especially the weird things on that?
Yeah.
I don't know how that process was and
Yeah.
what you went through when you had to do all the new changes.
I went through a lot. Yeah, it was a big prosthetic season for a lot of the characters that obviously get made from his DNA. I know I'm trying not to give, I mean, why am I saying you spoil it? You should have watched it already. Spoil it! But the funny part was the wings were, because I thought it was going to be like an attachment to my back. Like I was like, oh, that'll be like a little thing. And like, oh no, it's your back. We have to mold your back. And I was like, what? Take your shirt off. And I was like, and then, so you have to like go to the special effects, you know, trailer and blah, blah. And like they put like a molding, like casting, like it's liquid. And they put it on your back. And it's winter, so you're like, please no one open the trailer, and a gush of wind would come in, you know? And you're like, so they mold it to like stays, like kind of like the way you're gonna sit on the table or stand on things, so it was like a little bit slanty. And wait till it hardens, and it becomes really hard, and then it goes up to your shoulder, and they go from the back, and they have to go, and like scrape it off your back, and then the whole mold comes off, and then they attach the wings because through the inside they put wiring so the wings can go, you know? And so like, it's like, it was, yeah. I mean, looking at these things, like even the toads, like it was like, and like their like stomach and like chin would blow up, and the rat that like went in my ear, that was a thing. And so there's all these like, things, but all these creatures had to have my face. So before we started production, I went to like a special place in LA where like you sit in front of a thing and they just go like over, and they make a mold, like a 3D molding like out of you, send it over, and then just from your features, they put that into like the fish. Like his face is my face. And they put it into like the mask for the dog, the sheet, like everything, like they put your features into these creatures. So they put, our special effects team is amazing. It's like, I've never seen a team like this, and I'm so lucky that I get to like work with them. But like they put, and they're also really love what they do, and they love the show. So they always go like above and beyond. They're always like, oh yeah, we put whiskers on him, and just like, great, and it's hideous, It's great, yeah. So it was really weird to walk into a room for the first time and see all these creatures with your face on it, and it's like, oh no, it's happening again. And but the one that really like stood out to me was the back one. And I remember shooting that scene, I was so occupied with that moment, and we're doing a lot of the test stuff, and Matt Berry, I purposely try to like take out one of the drink things because I really had to drink it, and one of the other things was not drinkable, and he's like, oh, I don't remember which was which, and I was like, just like, he's like, all right, action, I was like, no, and he on purpose tried to trick me, and because I was so occupied with the back thing, I was like, what's going on back there, and he would like switch out the cups or something. So we had fun. It was a fun season to shoot. It was really fun to just have all those departments come together, like costume and special effects, and all of them, just like they work so well together. It's amazing. Thank you. Hi.
I just remember watching that one show that may or may not have to do anything with vampires. And when Guillermo
Cheers.
I just felt seen, and I realized there's nothing wrong with my existence, and so I was just wondering your thoughts, story behind that, and clear representation.
Well, first of all, that's lovely. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. Absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're beautiful. I really, for years, there's always been that like, is he, isn't he, what's the relationship and what's not? And I think we forget that like, as humans, we always pry into other people's life that way. Someone's sexuality is none of our business. It's none of our business. And when they are ready to and share with you how they see themselves and how they love and who they love, that is their choice. And I did feel a little torn with when we did, when Guillermo came out, because he only came out to save his chosen and biological family. Naja was being attacked by his vampire-killing biological family. He used himself as a shield to stop something from happening. He put his emotion, his personal secret, his personal, love interest or sexuality all on the line to save someone. Now, if you don't, that's heroic, because he was kind of pushed to come out, maybe not, he wasn't ready at the moment, but he was almost pushed himself to come out that moment to save someone, which is really heroic, I think. Because I always think about the coming out. When you say coming out, when did they come out? When did someone come out? When did you come out? When did you come out? How did you come out? And I don't think that people come out because when they tell somebody, they already know who they are. People don't come out, they let you in. And when someone lets you in, and this is something that, was said, and my beautiful sister actually worded this, it was when someone lets you into their home, you just what they do with that, how they treat your furniture, how they realign things. You welcome them to their home, right? And what they do with that information, it's on them. So sometimes it's not the response that we wanted. Sometimes we let people in and they take that and use it against you. They try to hurt you. They try to shame you. And I let you into my home and you came in and made a mess. And so when you do let someone in, it's because we thought you would come in and enjoy and respect my space, and I misjudged. And so it does make us lock that door sometimes and close that door and be very cautious of who we let into our home. And so I would advise everyone to be cautious when someone opens and leaves the door ajar and gives you some information, to be a little bit, lead with heart and lead with empathy. And remember that this was very hard for them to invite you in. So keep that in mind. So people don't come out, they let you in.
Guillermo,
Oh my gosh, Nando.
when are you coming back to Saturday? I'm planning to stream, but this shit Colin Robertson will not show me.
They're all up here. Oh my, stand up. You get the whole gang's here.
Yes.
Nando, do you have a question or are you good? Soon. I'll always come home. That's a good question.
Hi, I'm Lauren. This is my friend Lucas. We were also Citrus Singers.
Oh, Citrus Singers!
So I was wondering if you could talk about how your time as a Citrus Singer impacted the rest of your career, or didn't, or if you have any fun Citrus Singer story. I would love to hear.
Well, I'm still in therapy. Yeah. So Citrus Singers is a program that I did after I left Cedar City, Southern Utah. I went and did Citrus Singers and also did AMDA for a bit. So Citrus Singers is a conservatory program that was out of Glendora, California, and it was under the direction, when I was there, under Ben Bollinger, who was this amazing opera singer. So I fell into it by accident. My friend Romy was doing volleyball there, and she goes, "They have a choir here, if you want to sing." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I'll take the semester off and I'll do like a drama class and a choir class just to get into the musical theater world." So I went in wanting to take classes with the head of the theater department, which was Sherry Brown, amazing teacher. And I was like, I need to get to Sherry Brown's class. And they're like, oh, she's booked. And I was like, except for, there is one class. And I was like, well, I'll take it. And it's like, but it's for the Citrus Singers. And I was like, okay. And it's like, and you have to audition for that. And I was like, okay, can I just do that? Auditions were a week ago. And I was like, okay, but I'm late. I just moved back. Can I just talk to somebody? And they're like, okay, well, let's talk to Ben Bollinger. And so I go to the office thinking I'm meeting Mr. Bollinger, and there's this man behind a desk, and he's like, we're already booked, so thanks so much for coming, but we don't have any spaces. And I was like, okay, well, why did that lady tell me to come in here? He's like, well, let me hear you. And he does some scales on the piano, goes up and down, up and down. He's like, oh, you're a first tenor. And I was like, I am! And he's like, we need first tenors. Okay, well, come back tomorrow and talk to Mr. Bollinger. I was like, who are you then? And he's like, my name's Michael Schedule. And I was like, oh, why were you behind his desk? He's like, get out. And I was like, so I got out of the desk, got out of the office, and I was like, well, came back the next day. Mr. Bollinger was like, I heard you. Well, I'm sorry, we're already started, and you'd be a week behind. And this program moves really fast. Like, why do people keep asking me to come to your office and tell me no? And he was like, well, let me hear you play. And he played the chords again. He's like, all right, tell Ellie outside that you're going to join. And I was like, okay, great. I go outside and I was like, he told me that I'm going to join the choir and then I can take Sherry Brown's class, so you can sign up for that. And she looked at me with this look like, are you kidding me? She goes, here are your classes. And it's like, blah, blah. And you'll need to go to here, blah, blah, to get dance shoes, all that. And I was like, no. I'm taking choir and an acting drama class. 2 classes. And I was like, no. And so so my 2 classes were equivalent to like 6 units, in college. I was like, 6 units, I could do that. It's like, it's busy, but it's not crazy busy, And they're like, no, you're taking all the Citrus Singer classes, which is equivalent to like 52 units. Jeez. What? And as you can tell, they don't tell you that, but it's because every minute of your day is accounted for. 6 a.m. tap class, 7 a.m. ballet, 8 a.m. jazz, 9 a.m. vocal coach, 10 musical theater history, 11 musical theater, 12 singing for musical theater. And you're like, what? What did I get myself into? It is a full life. You don't see your family. Like, your schedule is 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single night. They're telling us 10. And so, it was just, for me, it was like the best training I could have gotten was Citrus Singers, because it taught me if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're fired. And it taught me that work ethic, so I make sure to, wherever I try to go, I try to be, now that I'm older, I'm like a little bit on the later side, because stuff happens. But when I was getting started, I was never late, I was always on time, like never, in my mentality is like, they'll fire you. So like, it trained me musically, and it was great, and I credit them for, a lot of my dance training, a lot of vocal training. So it was a great program, but it was brutal. But to answer your question, my favorite color is blue. Yeah, that's a great way.
We're gonna do one more quick question on this side and this side, and then we gotta say goodbye to Harvey.
Okay.
So, Kiara and Tinakwe, I'm from music. So I am so excited to be in that community. Participate in last night. This was really meaningful for me as a grad student here who really missed home, so the humor and everything. And I just wanted to ask you, how was it working with the Kiwis?
I love them. They are so funny. I think for the first couple of days, I was trying to get used to the accent, because Taika is like a malamin, it's like, all right, how are you gonna go there, and you're gonna go there, and you're gonna go there, and there you go. And they have two different ways of directing, so they both like give you like a direction. It's really funny, because it would be like, Jermaine's really soft, and he comes over and he goes, hey Harvey, why don't you go over there and then close the door and then leave? Okay. And then Tiger's like, Harvey, you gotta go in there, you gotta open the door, you gotta go in there, and then you gotta go in, and then you gotta. And I was like, action. So for the first couple of days, I was like having like, what's going on? But they're both lovely, wonderful people. I would work with them in a second. They're super, super amazing. And everyone who we worked with, who was part of the original team, who was also, Kiwi, was super, super amazing. So I do it again. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, real quick.
Hi.
So my question is, what horror or slasher do you think you would make funny girl status in?
Ooh, final girl status. I mean, I have to talk to the OG, which is Neb Campbell, who's, amazing. And we were just holding puppies yesterday. But, like, final girl status, what would I combine? I just started watching Friday the 13th for the first time ever. I never saw that. And also I was so confused, because I kept thinking, I was like, when does the guy with the mask come out? For the first, 2 films. And I was like, where is he? And if no spoilers, I guess, if you haven't watched it like I hadn't, but I was like, he doesn't even come out until later. But I guess, I don't know, that's a good one. What would you do?
I could see that Ghostface personally. I've seen it scream enough times. I think you could too. Yeah, you could.
I think I could, right? I think I could. What do you think? All right, I'll do it. Cut to me dead. I failed.
Harvey, I think I can speak for all of us that we had the best time here. Give it up for Harvey. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you.
Oh yeah, come down over to our table, come and say hi, take a picture, love you. Come down and say hi. See you at the table.